If people call you a millennial or Gen Z and it doesn't feel quite right, this is why. The generation labels are actually all wrong because after 1980, there are too many massive changes every 5 years, and 15 years is way too big of a range to define a group of people, so this is how it should actually work. So each generation is confined to a decade and they're split into part 1 and part 2. So first, we have the 80s babies, part 1, who are basically just Gen Xers, and then we have part 2, who have very vague memories of a time before the internet, and there are no hard dates for this. You put yourself in either the first or the second category based on your own experience. Next, we have pre-millennials, so people born in the 90s, and if you didn't have an iPhone in high school, you're in part 1. If you did have an iPhone in high school, or if they were at least very common when you were in high school, then you're in part 2. Post-millennials are born in the 2000s, and you're in part 1 if you remember the before times. You were hopeful because things seemed to finally be changing, and Pokemon Go was going to be the reason world peace was achieved in 2016. You're in part 2 if you don't remember a time before social media, and you became jaded at a very young age and began to detach from reality really early on when you saw not only how the world works, but how everyone was just kind of cool with it being that way because nobody was doing anything to change it. You also actually watched Adventure Time as a kid and not just as a zooted-out 20-something-year-old. Those who were born in the 2010s are in the "I'm so sorry we brought you into this, we didn't know" generation. There is no part 1 or part 2 for this generation. These kids are collectively messed up right from the jump, they have no recollection of peace, and were born to a world rapidly descending into chaos and fire. Anyone born in the 2020s is the iPad kid generation, and they watch both CoComelon and Has Been Hotel simultaneously. Nature is healing by self-destructing.